The Laodicean age of Christianity is such an important lesson and discussion that we're going to start our online Bible studies on Monday with this topic, along with Revelation and Daniel and other things that are pertinent to this time now, this end time period, as it's called. So this will just be a cursory examination of the Laodicean age of the church as a topic that Jesus in the Revelation says, write these 7 letters to the churches that are in Asia. They weren't the most prominent, and that there seemed to be an obscure choice, except that it's historically understood by scholars that it seems he's speaking to the progressions or ages of the church over time, from Ephesus, the first love, on through Laodicea, the final age of the church. And that these are actually stages that can be demonstrated historically, and that's one of the things we'll talk about in our Bible study. But the idea that that this is a more apt way to interpret this leads us to look at this Laodicean age of the church, and it's one that's, well, it's about the worst thing he says to any of the 7 churches, as he tells them, I know your works, I know what's good, I know what's bad. And when he gets to Laodicea, the final one, he says, I know that you're wealthy and comfortable and secure and have need of nothing and think that you're so smart, and basically, and don't realize that you're really naked and poor and miserable. And I wish you were hot or cold, but because you're not, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. And that word lukewarm that he uses is actually a reference to a water, apparently, that a stage of water that was known. He was using a word that meant like a stagnant, putrid water that you don't want to swallow. It's not quenching. You just want to spit it out of your mouth. So it's characterizing the age of the church as being like putrid water. And this is the Christian church now. This is not non-believers. He's writing to the church. The 7 candlesticks before him, or the 7 spirits, and the 7 stars, or the 7 the spirits, and the 7 candlesticks are the 7 churches. That's one of the other reasons people see a deeper meaning in it than just these particular churches. They have a deeper significance. And if that significance is historical, it sort of makes sense. Here we are in an age where wealth and temporal security become so important to us that is what we base most of our value system on, especially in the Western world and even in the Christian mind. When you look at Ephesus, in that description, it's the first church, and he says, I have these things against you, you've forsaken your first love. And so when you examine what that might mean, it brings you to Acts, I think, and the first earliest church that's recorded after Pentecost, when the apostles were first trying to explain to all these Jews around them that this Jesus was in fact the Messiah that they'd been waiting for, and it was vindicated by being raised from the dead. And even though he wasn't exactly what they thought he was going to be, it was even better, because the forgiveness of sins was now available to everyone through this name, and it had come without battle. It had come simply through love. And so in this way, and because his command was, now love one another, their first love was, as recorded in Acts, was feeling this no personal possessions, and nobody claimed anything for their own. They sold everything they had and laid it at the apostles' feet. There were no needy among them. When you see how Jesus sent the disciples out before he was killed to go out and start preaching now what they had learned, that he was the Messiah, came, and that the sick were healed and the blind were given their sight, and to go do these things. and come back to him. He told them, don't take a staff, don't take no sandals, no staff, no purse, no money, one tunic, which I imagine is significant because it probably represents comfort. And this is how they went out, with nothing but the love of this word to carry them. And then the other idea that where your treasures are, your heart will be also, when he gives them that lecture about wealth and ends it with, you can't serve both God and mammon. So there was this, you look at it as this progression from the early church, when people really loved and followed Christ in the way of complete selflessness, giving their possessions, because what they were being taught and what he had said was, put your mind on that and not on your worldly possessions. I mean, the rich young ruler who said, yeah, I've kept all the commandments. And he said, okay, if you want to be perfect, sell everything, give it to the poor, and follow me. And you find that over and over in the New Testament, that the way of Jesus is selflessness. It's abandoning our own desires for comfort, for money, and looking to the people who need something and giving to them, loving our neighbor as ourselves. And the end times are characterized throughout the Scripture, both Old and New Testament, as love waxing cold. And so when you get to the Laodicean age of the church, it's uncannily like our own modern age, in which we all find security in hoarding wealth, not giving it away.